If you smell what the Rock is cooking. The Rock says, the Rock says, the Rock says, the Rock. They talk to me. You got your rules and your religion, all designed to keep you safe. But when rules start getting broken, you start questioning your faith. I have a voice that is my savior, hates to love and loves to hate. I have a voice that has the knowledge and the power to your fate.
Hello and welcome to a special episode of the WWE Wrestling Talk Show with Russell Rock Jones and
Randy Smith, and it seems WWE have done it again.
yes, we all know that prior to and after WrestleMania, WWE does a bit of spring cleaning with the talent.
But this is taking the absolute mick.
We did a show last year following WrestleMania where, due to a certain
COVID-19 pandemic,
they let go a lot of WWE of talent, and this year they seem to be keeping it up. Now, initially, after WrestleMania, we weren't going to do a show because it was just a few, I wouldn't say minor names, but there was a few names that are just one or two big names in there. No big deal, it happens. But now it's starting to get ridiculous.
yeah.
So, here we will go all the way back to just before WrestleMania, when Andrade, former NXT and United States champion, was released on the 21st of March after asking for his release, basically because he was doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean, as we said, he was a former NXT champion and a former United States champion. But once he got put up onto the main roster, he was put into numerous storylines, but obviously keeping his partnership with Zelina Vega.
Oh yeah, and after Zelina Vega was released in November of
Because of the ongoing Twitch issues at the time.
then his appearance on TV seemed to disappear, and even his real-life relationship with Charlotte Flair couldn't save him.
No. And that release for us was shocking, but at the same time not surprising because he, as he said, he did ask to be released from his contract not too long ago before his release.
Now, on the week after WrestleMania is when we start to get certain names being released. And on the 15th of April, we had several names released,
Oh, yes.
including Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, the Iconics.
Former women's tag team champions.
Slightly surprising because of the tag team division, which doesn't necessarily have a lot of teams in it.
No.
And
Obviously, WWE, well, since splitting them up, we're not going to use these guys anymore.
yes, ever since splitting up the Iconics, I mean, they had tried. Which one was it? Was it Peyton Royce? Had briefly formed something with Carmella.
They
Was it?
tried putting Peyton Royce with Lacey Evans, until Lacey Evans was expecting a real life child, put a stop to that. And then after that, they decided to try and get Billy Kay into some sort of tag team partnership with Carmella, which did happen at WrestleMania. But then obviously she then got released.
Yeah. Quite possibly one of the biggest names in the April set of release, and was Samoa Joe.
Yes, that came out of nowhere because he was on the Raw commentary team.
After WrestleMania, it was revealed that they would be shaking up the Raw commentary team with Tom Phillips and Samoa Joe being replaced.
By Corey Graves and Byron Saxton.
Well, Saxton was on the team anyway.
Yes.
Adnan Virk replaced Tom Phillips, but we'll get into more detail about him slightly later. But Samoa Joe came into NXT, came into NXT in 2015
Won the NXT title
twice.
twice.
Had several good matches when he came up to the main roster with Brock Lesnar and of course AJ Styles. Had
Yes.
two-time United States champion.
Yes.
And whilst I can possibly see why WWE may not have wanted to put him back as an in-ring performer, because he had almost started to become injury prone because he picked up an injury, and then when he came back he got re-injured almost straight away.
Yeah, which was very bad timing.
But he had found a very good spot for him on the commentary team. I found it very similar to what happened to Taz back almost 20 odd years ago.
Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, WWE did release Samoa Joe.
Also released former United States and Cruiserweight champion Kalisto.
Yes, Kalisto of the Lucha House Party is no more in the WWE. Lucha House Party is now down to 2 members, Grand Metalik and Lindsay Dorado.
Then one of the slightly bigger names being released for the second time, first of all in 2013, and then now, is Mickie James.
Yes, Mickie James has once again been let go from her contract.
Now, she was in the headlines as well all over Twitter after being released because she was giving her belongings back in a trash bag.
Yes, very classy WWE. But no, the guy that did it has now been fired. So.
Also released on the 15th of April was former Tough Enough contestant Chelsea Green. who had only recently been promoted to the main roster on SmackDown, but had also picked up a wrist injury.
Yes, on her first night, but she also received her personal belongings in a trash bag, just like Mickey James.
Also released on the 15th of April, we had former member of Heavy Machinery, Tucker.
And ever since Heavy Machinery broke up, Otis has gone on to better things, but Tucker was demoted down from 24/7 title scene.
Yes, that's ever since they did that split with Heavy Machinery, Tucker hasn't done anything.
No, so that release was kind of like no surprise.
But yeah, that was like, who cares?
Yeah.
It's also released, considering who his father and brother are. Do you believe in Bo Dallas? Obviously, WWE doesn't.
No. Yes, Bo Dallas was unfortunately released from his contract, but we didn't see this release coming at all.
And of course, as I said, considering who his brother is, he's the real life brother of the Fiend.
Also released on April 15th
Yeah,
was Wes Blake.
yes, it looks like the Forgotten Sons and I've forgotten.
Yes, let's not go into the reason why Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler were let go, because we already know how that came out.
Yes, those were the names that were released on April 15th after WrestleMania. Then we didn't hear about any more releases until May 20th.
Yes.
Now, in ring wise, here we had a few Performance Center / NXT names.
Yes, some of them are not surprising, but some are.
Here we have Kavita Levi,
Yeah.
Jasmine Duke,
Desmond Duke, that was a surprising one.
Vanessa Bourne,
That was another surprising one.
Skylar Story, Ezra Judge, and after losing a match on NXT, member of Imperium, Alexander Wolf.
Yes, and that kind of came out of nowhere.
And then arguably the biggest name, but really a name which has been not debated and criticized for his stupid actions, is former Tough Enough contestant and former NXT North American champion, Velveteen Dream.
Yes, the Velveteen Dream was released from his contract, and we can't say that me and my colleague can't say that we're surprised about that.
No, this one's been building ever since the allegations came out about him sending inappropriate photos to underage kids.
I mean, who wants to cheer on somebody who does that? I certainly don't.
I would like to say that this is just a case of him being young and dumb, and arguably there's an argument that he could be brought back in a couple of years, but that's a sketchy one. And there have also been reports of him being a pain to work with backstage.
I can kind of see that personally.
Now, before we get to some of the other in-ring names.
Releases.
We mentioned the change to the Raw commentary team
Yes.
after WrestleMania. Adnan Virk was appointed as lead announcer for Monday Night Raw, replacing Tom Phillips. However, he only lasted about a month
Yeah, about that.
because on May 25th, he and WWE had mutually agreed to part ways, which may not necessarily come as a quote unquote release. And Adnan Virk stated that the schedule was too much for him. Hello, Mr. Virk, you weren't even on the road yet. You were doing all the shows from one building. The
So,
I would say the real reason is you didn't know what the heck you were talking about.
no, which is then, as soon as he went, they immediately announced a replacement by the name of Jimmy.
Yes, who actually does have some experience in combat sports from the UFC. But then it was also, first of all, some people were thinking that when this happened, that WWE may bring back in Tom Phillips.
No, because Tom Purge was also released from the WWE,
On the 27th of May.
which completely shocked a lot of people.
Yes,
Including ourselves.
because Tom Phillips is arguably one of the best announcers that the company has at the moment.
Yes.
But then, yesterday, on June 2nd, had five, we had names, 5 to 6 names released. One of which would really cause a raids segment by me.
Yes.
So let's run through this. On the 2nd of June, WWE released the Monster Amendment, Braun Strowman.
Yes, you heard us right. Braun Strowman, the Strowman Express has now derailed out of WWE.
This one, I'm not 100% sure what to think about him. Because in classic WWE style, they dropped the ball with Strowman tremendously.
They did.
In 27, when he came in as part of the Wyatt family, I was like, okay, whatever. Then when he had his feud with Roman Reigns in late 2017, I believe it was.
Yeah.
They had potential to turn him into almost the next big thing. We won't go into who that really is.
Yeah.
But then they decide to give him a tag team championship with a 10-year-old.
Yes, which turned out to be one of the referee's sons.
And when he did kind of start to get going again, it was almost too little too late. Last year, he only won the Universal Championship because Roman Reigns had to pull out because of And for the past year, as past couple of months, he's been treated like a comedy act at the expense of Shane McMahon.
Yeah,
And
that was when they ran out of ideas, kind of.
yes, he kind of morphed into Big Show 2.0.
Which we will give him a mention at some point.
And also released on June 2nd, the Ravishing Russian Lana.
Again, a bit of a surprising one because she was in a women's tag team stable with Naomi, the
Yeah.
Ravishing Blood.
Yes, this one's a bit of a weird one. I have mixed feelings on this one.
Yeah, so do
Because I almost think this one's kind of been almost building ever since Rusev was let go and jumped ship to.
Something that we will not mention for legal reasons.
And when she was involved in this whole storyline with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, it kind it kind of got silly.
But at the same time,
But at the same time, it also kind of got her over.
yeah,
And of course, recently with Naomi's return, they've been doing a tag team there.
yeah.
However, when you look at the overall women's talent, then is she the best in-ring competitor? No. Does she is does she have potential as a manager slash promo person? Yes, because that's what she started out doing with Rusev slash Miro.
Google copyright. Yeah, then there was another release which kind of like was say what now?
The next release was Buddy Murphy.
Again, ever since that storyline that Rey Mysterio had with Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy was kind of like put on the back burner almost.
Yes, ever since Murphy separated himself from
He's not the star, he's a very naughty boy.
Seth Rollins and had this romance with Alia Mysterio. Ever since that ended and didn't go anywhere really, he's been just there. Yes, they did bring him in and use him slightly with the story between Cesaro and Seth, which is currently going on. But apart from that, they haven't really done much with him.
No.
Okay, so breathe now, because this one is really going to annoy me.
Yes, Aleister Black, the superstar they've been hyping for weeks and has not long come back to SmackDown and was going to start a rivalry with Big E, has been let go.
Yes, why? Why would you spend this money, film vignettes with him, bring him back to TV 2 weeks ago to get involved in that fatal five-way intercontinental title match? Possibly start a program with Big E, only to effing annoys him. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yes, and I think his time to come was coming to an end. If you look back when Selena Vega got released, it was only a matter of time. The timing of them was impeccably stupid.
Yeah, and that's the other thing because in NXT, Aleister Black was over as everyone else. majorly dropped the ball with him on the main roster. I mean, this guy should have been minimally Intercontinental / United States Championship picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this could this. There were reports that Selena Vega was possibly coming back to WWE. With this, I highly doubt it.
Yeah, same. Another one that got released was, again, a bit of a surprising one. Ruby Riott.
Yes, not WWE. You do realize that you have women's tag team championships. So why, in the course of releasing several superstars, have you split up two of your tag teams?
Yeah, so that means Liv Morgan is unfortunately on her own
Again,
and with that tag partner.
do we remember what happened last time they tried to put Liv Morgan into a singles competition?
Yeah, so that LGBT storyline with Lime, which didn't come to light in the end. And the last one that got released was kind of an NXT one, but not really. She didn't really do much with Santana Garrett.
Yes, another performance center / NXT talent that had been signed but hadn't really done anything. See, this is the main problem with WWE. They have too much talent for their tiny little creative minds to know what to do with at times.
Yes, and obviously there's a pandemic known as COVID-19 right now, despite the fact that they've made record-breaking profits. So to all those superstars we mentioned, including Lars Sullivan as well, that we haven't mentioned,
Yeah.
we would like to wish them well, or we'd like to wish them well in their future endeavours.
So those were most of the superstars who had been eliminated, released over WrestleMania season. Also released was Lars Sullivan in January.
As we said,
Big Show was released in February before Championship.
Yep.
As was Steve Coulter from the Forgotten Sons.
Leaving Wesley Blake with the company.
And then we had, of course, Andrade, the Iconics, Samoa Joe, Kalisto, Mickey James, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Bo Dallas, Wesley Blake, Kavita Devan, Jasmine Drake, Vanessa Spawn, Sky Taylor of Stone, Ezra Judge, Alexander Wolf, Velveteen Dream, Braun Strowman, Lana, Buddy Murphy, Aleister Black, Ruby Riott, and Santana Garrett. Unfortunately, to all of you, we have to say this.
And wish you well all in your future endeavours.
Some of these names, especially some of the younger ones, could resurface in WWE in a couple of years, depending on where they go. Others, I don't think will ever be in WWE again.
Yes. So that brings us to the end of our special show, as we will call WWE Purge Part 2.
Now, unfortunately, there are talks out there that WWE may not be done yet when it comes to releases, so there is a chance that we may be doing another show like this fairly soon, depending on the number of possible more releases and who they are.
And if they're major enough, if they're on the main roster. Until
then, hopefully, but next week we'll get back to our scheduled programming when NXT Takeover in Your House comes out this.
Yeah, so until then, he's been
Lisa Rock Jones, and he's been
Sean Randy Smith, and to all the superstars that have been released, we would like to wish you well in all your future endeavours.